Today I want to talk about finding the joy in motherhood. On this particular day, it was a little bit harder than usual. It was kind of a strange day with snow, even though it was late May. I'm also trying to make a homemade chicken pot pie throughout the video, which you'll see, but it did feel like I was meeting a lot of small challenges throughout this whole day. Right here I'm putting away some bone broth that I thawed out and also the shredded chicken for the pot pie. We have a water jug here because our water turned off. We have workers in our community trying to fix some piping, and so we were previously on an 8-day boil notice, which was tough. That finally lifted a few weeks ago, but now our water randomly turned off, so I was a little bit discouraged there since I did have big plans in the kitchen for the day. Finding joy in motherhood has made a huge difference in my life. So I have an 8-month-old, I'm a first-time mom, and it just can be so overwhelming and sometimes just frustrating being a mom and learning how to adapt your daily routine around having a baby. In this video, I do want to talk about a handful of the things that I do focus on to help me find the joy. So the first thing is to just embrace imperfection. For example, in this video, I'm making chicken pot pie for the first time, but there were a lot of little things that didn't go as planned, and so even though it wasn't perfect, the outcome can still be nice. So I still was able to feed my family a delicious from scratch meal. And that is one thing that I try to find just in any part of life, that you can embrace it and things usually work out just fine, even if it doesn't feel like it's going to. If you watched my last video, I did talk about getting back in the kitchen as a first-time mom, and finding the joy was one of the tips that I did give. So I wanted to do a video where I do deep dive into that and what that actually looks like. But I do see the irony now because it seems like the enemy hit back in full force trying to test me on this particular day. But things all worked out, and it was a really good way to practice what I preach. You'll see here I'm laughing because the flour is just making a huge mess. But sometimes you just have to laugh through it and try to keep a good attitude. I am making a double batch of this recipe, so I'll make 2 sets of pie crust and also double the filling, and I will keep this in the freezer so I have an extra chicken pot pie to make in a few weeks when I just need a quick dinner. Another thing I like to focus on is the growth and learning that occurs really in everyday life, whether you're a mother or not. But there is a lot of growth and learning as I'm trying to navigate having a baby and becoming a first-time mom. So that is a blessing if you think about it, just having the opportunity to learn new things and grow yourself. You're not stagnant, but you're able to grow to a better version of yourself. So at this point, you'll notice my husband found the bone broth is leaking into the fridge, and I'm still trying to have a good attitude, but it is a little frustrating that I just put it in there and it didn't seem like it was leaking. So thankfully he was sweet enough to clean it up for me, and also he was sweet enough to make me laugh, which laughter is the best medicine. Just like they say, it helps so much. So laughing actually just does something to reset you. It can just improve your mood so quickly. back to growth and learning. So just making pie crust for the first time, I learned a lot. So for example, the butter that I had 3 sticks in the fridge and 1 in the freezer. I was actually discouraged because I thought that the freezer butter was going to be an issue, but after I started grating it, I realized the freezer butter was way better than the butter that was in the fridge. So because it was a little more solid, it grated very quickly and very nicely. But as I moved along to the fridge butters, they clumped up a lot more and I had to really work to get it out of the cheese grater. So another part of finding the joy in motherhood is knowing that your perspective matters. So if you can look at things through a positive lens, it can really change anything. So for example, with the butter, even though it was coming out a little more mushy than I wanted, I can remind myself that, oh, I'm learning, and next time it will be easier. So that is just a perspective change that you can practice really in any situation that you're in. For this pie crust recipe, I thought it was interesting. Maybe it's normal, but you put ice in the water to cool it down before you mix it into your crust. And also, I was really surprised because this recipe called for 1 cup of water, which did not seem like it was going to be enough. But thankfully, the recipe itself said do not overwater because it will come together. So I think I mixed for a good 5 minutes, and it does finally come together as a pie crust. So if you're ever making a pie recipe, make sure to give yourself some time to mix it together before you add in more water. And I will link the recipes below that I used for this chicken pot pie. Another part of finding joy in motherhood is celebrating the ordinary. So on this day, I'm, simply making dinner for my family, something that I do, 5, 6, 7 times a week. And it's just ordinary. And sometimes it can seem like it can get old. But if you just celebrate the ordinary and again have a perspective shift, it can make you see joy and experience joy so much more. My husband really loves chicken pot pie, and I really love cooking in the kitchen, so it's just nice to recognize that this is a blessing and it's something that I can celebrate. I'm learning a new recipe and I'm able to make something healthy and wholesome for my family. Another thing that helps me find joy in motherhood is just to take it day by day. Sometimes it's even just to take it hour by hour. You might, be having a spell where your baby's not sleeping or your kids are, they're sick or something that is making it challenging. But if you just focus on the moment that you're in, it can help so much. You don't have to feel the weight of the future, but you can try to slow down and really live in the moment. Along with living in the moment, I like to think about things that I'm grateful for right in this moment. I know that there's the classics that people focus on. There's a roof over our head, we have food on the table, we have lights on. There's just, so many things that we are blessed with that we forget to focus on. But along with that, if you really try, you can think of even more out-of-the-box things to be grateful for. So that is a good exercise to have, and it really trains your brain to start finding joy in little things that you wouldn't otherwise think about. For example, I'm using a wooden spoon and a cast iron skillet to stir my vegetables. And it sounds so silly and ridiculous, but I'm just so grateful for my kitchenware. I really love that I can use wooden utensils, and also my cast iron skillet just brings me so much joy. It feels like I'm really, having a traditional cooking experience when I use these things. I did pre-cut my vegetables the day before, which I highly recommend. It saves so much time while you're cooking dinner if you can have your vegetables and meats cut up beforehand. And I also cooked the chicken in the Instant Pot beforehand, so it's shredded and ready to go in the fridge. This makes cooking dinner seem so much more attainable when you have a lot of the steps out of the way, either from the previous day or if you can do those things in the morning. Another reason that I really want to find the joy in motherhood is because I'm modeling joy for my baby and, future babies. It's just a great practice, not only for me, but it benefits my family so much when I find the joy just in life and all the little things, and I can demonstrate that for my kids. It's something that I hope they start from a young age and that they're able to carry on, when they grow up and have their own families. After I fed Maeve, I came back to the kitchen to assemble the chicken pot pie, and then I'll be able to bake it and we can have dinner. That is another key to finding joy in motherhood, is just being flexible. So yes, I had to stop what I was doing to take care of the baby. And in the past, I'm actually a very task-oriented person and I want to finish what I'm working on. But that is something that I've had to change and work on. So I have to tell myself that this can wait for me and it's not a big deal if I have to stop what I'm doing and I can come back to it later. Another thing that I like to remind myself is that these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. As simple as it is to make a pie in the kitchen, when I have Maeve with me, which you'll notice soon, I did have to baby wear her because she was a little bit grumpy and just needed some attention. But I can, put her in my baby carrier and we're cooking together, and it's just going to be a really sweet memory in the future to know that we had those moments together. So cherishing those small moments can make a huge difference when you're trying to find the joy. So to finish off this pie, I'm putting an egg wash on top, and then I'll sprinkle it with a little bit of sea salt and put it in the oven. I hope that this video has encouraged you to just really embrace where you're at in life and find the joy in motherhood if that's where you're at. So by no means am I perfect at this, but it is something that I am trying to practice daily. And it really does make a difference if you can find joy in your day-to-day life. So this is the extra chicken pot pie filling that I will put in the freezer, and I have the pie crust also in the freezer. So next time I want a quick meal, I'll just pull them out to defrost, and then I can assemble it and put it in the oven, and we'll have a delicious home-cooked meal. So the chicken pot pie came out, it maybe isn't picture worthy, but it came out delicious. I really enjoyed it. I know my husband enjoyed it, and Maeve was able to eat it too. So we just, cut out the filling and kind of chopped it up for her, and she could pick at it on her own. If you're looking for another baby-led weaning recipe, my video last week shows me making ground beef stroganoff, which is one of her favorites. Thank you so much for watching as I shared my tips for finding the joy in motherhood. I will see you in the next video.